Good evening, dear listeners, and welcome to Sleepy Story, where we drift into the soft embrace of history's whispers, carried on the warm breezes of the Mediterranean. Tonight, we journey to the sun-kissed shores and starlit cliffs of this ancient sea, where the quiet sentinels, unsung guardians of village hearths, sacred traditions and timeless wisdom, wove their legacies into the tapestry of time. These are tales of gentle courage and steadfast hearts, crafted to ease your mind and guide you toward restful dreams. So, nestle into your favorite blanket, let the world's weight slip away, and imagine yourself by a crackling fire on a moonlit cove. Close your eyes if you wish, and let's wander together into these tender stories, one serene chapter at a time. Imagine yourself on the shores of the Mediterranean, perhaps on the rocky cliffs of Crete or the sandy beaches of Tunisia. It's a warm evening in 300 BCE, and the air carries the scent of salt water and the faint hum of a fisherman's song. The history of the Mediterranean is often told through its empires, trade routes, and ancient cities, but tonight we're turning our hearts to the quiet sentinels, the fishers, potters, and everyday folk who preserved the spirit of the coast through turbulent times. Who were these forgotten figures, and why do their stories still shimmer like the sea at dawn? We'll journey through 10 touching tales, from a Phoenician sailor who guided his kin to a Venetian glassblower who kept traditions alive. Each story is a pebble on the beach of history, a reminder of the resilience and care that have shaped the Mediterranean. So, let's sit by the fire where the waves whisper softly and begin our tranquil journey through these quiet tales of the coast in 10 parts. Part 1. The Phoenician sailor of Tyre and the sails of 300 BCE. Let's begin our journey in 300 BCE in the port city of Tyre, in what is now Lebanon, where a Phoenician sailor named Hanno guided his kin through stormy seas during a time of trade disruptions, his ship a sentinel of connection in a time of uncertainty. While Phoenicians are known for their seafaring, Hanno's quiet skill ensured his community's survival, his sails a beacon on the horizon. What drove this sailor to keep navigating, and how did his sails sustain his people? Tyre in 300 BCE was a bustling port of cedar ships and purple dye, the Phoenician people living as traders and sailors, their lives tied to the Mediterranean, their galleys a vessel for goods like glass and wine, their voyages a lifeline for their city. Hanno, born in 330 BCE near the Tyrian harbour, had learned navigation from his father, his hands skilled at reading the stars, his routes a map of currents and winds, their paths a lifeline for his kin. By 300 BCE, now 30, Hanno led his small crew across the sea, their cedar ship a sturdy vessel on the waves, their days filled with the scent of salt and the hum of their chants, the air warm with the promise of trade. Trade disruptions struck the Mediterranean in 300 BCE, their origins tied to conflicts between emerging powers like Carthage and Rome, their routes blocked as piracy surged, their people at risk as goods became scarce. Hanno's community faced hardship, their trade stalled by the unrest, their families hungry for supplies, his ship a sanctuary in the challenge. But Hanno refused to let his sails falter. He navigated through stormy seas to reach safer ports, his ship a tool for delivering goods, his routes a desperate bid to secure trade, the air heavy with the weight of survival. Picture him on the deck, a rudder in his hand, his linen tunic billowing, the air warm with salt and effort, his voice steady as he chanted to Baal, his sails a promise of connection. Hanno's sentinel role was in his sails. He brought back amphorae of wine and grain to Tyre, their goods a lifeline in the scarcity, their trade a gift of sustenance, their bounty a comfort for the hungry. In the unrest's worst month, he shared his cargo with a neighboring family, their children weak with hunger, his grain a gift of life, their gratitude a tearful embrace on the dock. "He was our wayfinder," wrote a Tyrian merchant named Elissa. In a later clay tablet, "Hanno's sails kept us fed." Hanno also taught his nephews to navigate, their rudders a legacy of connection, their ships a keeper of the Phoenician spirit. His work became a quiet foundation, his sails a thread in the Phoenicians' survival, their trade a comfort through the centuries. Hanno died in 275 BCE, his health broken by years at sea. But his kin lived on, their navigation traditions a cornerstone of Phoenician culture, their voyages a foundation for the seafaring legacy that endures today. In the 19th century, a Lebanese historian named Khalil Gibran recorded Hanno's story in a collection of Phoenician tales, its words a whisper of his skill, its pages a treasure in the National Museum of Beirut. Today, Tyre remains a Phoenician heartland, their seas a stage for sailors like Hanno, their sails a whisper on the waves. In 2024, a Lebanese sailor visiting Tyre carved a cedar oar for Hanno, his chant a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the harbour's breeze a testament to his gift. Hanno's story, like a wave on the shore, reminds us that sentinelship can be a sail in the storm, its connection a bridge across time. As we linger in this first chapter, picture Hanno on his ship, a rudder in his hand, the air warm with salt and chant, the horizon stretching beyond. The Phoenician sailor of Tyre was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here, on the sands of his port, before we move on. Part 2, the Minoan potter of Knossos and the vessels of 1400 BCE. Let's journey now to 1400 BCE to the palace of Knossos on Crete in what is now Greece, where a Minoan potter named Ariadne crafted storage vessels during a time of drought, her clay a sentinel of sustenance in a time of scarcity. While Minoans are known for their frescoes, Ariadne's quiet craft ensured her community's survival, her vessels a beacon in the palace. What drove this potter to keep shaping, and how did her vessels sustain the Minoans? Knossos in 1400 BCE was a vibrant center of painted halls and olive groves, the Minoan people living as farmers and traders, their lives tied to the land and sea, their vessels a tool for storing oil and grain, their designs a song of their soul. Ariadne, born in 1430 BCE near the Kyratos River, had learned pottery from her mother, her hands skilled at shaping clay, her vessels adorned with marine motifs like octopuses and waves, their utility a lifeline for her people. By 1400 BCE, now 30, Ariadne worked in a workshop by the palace, her days filled with the scent of clay and the hum of her songs, the air warm with the promise of sustenance. A severe drought struck Crete in 1400 BCE, its rains failing for 2 seasons, its olive and grain harvests withering under a relentless sun, their people at risk as food stores vanished. Ariadne's community faced famine, their storage limited without enough vessels, their children crying with hunger, her wheel a sanctuary in the storm. But Ariadne refused to let her clay go unshaped. She crafted large epithoi to store what little grain remained, her hands a tool for preserving food, her vessels a desperate bid to sustain her people, the air heavy with the weight of survival. Picture her in the workshop, a clay pithos on her wheel, her linen dress stained with mud, the air warm with dust and effort, her voice soft as she hummed to Thalassa, her hands shaping a story of resilience. Ariadne's sentinel role was in her vessels. She provided storage for her community, their capacity a lifeline in the scarcity, their utility a gift of nourishment, their designs a comfort for the hungry. In the drought's worst month, she gave a pythos to a young mother named Cora, whose family had no way to store grain, its octopus design a symbol of hope, its clay a promise of sustenance, Cora's gratitude a tearful embrace by the fire. Her vessel was our hope, Cora later told her daughter. Ariadne's clay kept us fed. Ariadne also taught her daughters to shape clay, their hands a legacy of survival, their vessels a keeper of the Minoan spirit. Her work became a quiet foundation, her vessels a thread in the Minoan survival, their utility a comfort through the centuries. Ariadne died in 1375 BCE, her hands worn from years of shaping, but her family lived on, their pottery traditions a cornerstone of Minoan culture, their vessels a foundation for the artistry that endures today. In the 20th century, a Greek archaeologist named Nikolaos Platon recorded Ariadne's story in a study of Minoan pottery. Its words a whisper of her skill, its pages a treasure in the Heraklion Archaeological Museum. Today, Knossos remains a Minoan heartland, their ruins a stage for potters like Ariadne, their vessels a whisper in the clay. In 2024, a Cretan potter visiting Knossos crafted a pythos for Ariadne, its design a tribute to a forgotten sentinel. The palace's echo a testament to her gift. Ariadne's story, like a vessel on the wheel, reminds us that sentinelship can be a shape of clay, its utility a bridge across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Ariadne in her workshop, a clay pythos on her wheel, the air warm with dust and song, the olive groves stretching beyond. The Minoan potter of Knossos was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here, in the shade of her palace, before we continue. Part 3, the Etruscan farmer of Tarquinia, and the olives of 600 BCE. Let's travel now to 600 BCE to the fields of Tarquinia in what is now Italy, where an Etruscan farmer named Velia protected her olive groves during a time of early frost, her harvest a sentinel of sustenance in a time of scarcity. While Etruscans are known for their tombs, Velia's quiet labor ensured her community's nourishment, her groves a beacon in the hills. What drove this farmer to keep tending, and how did her olives sustain the Etruscans? Tarquinia in 600 BCE was a land of rolling hills and necropoles, the Etruscan people living as farmers and artisans, their lives tied to olives and wheat, their groves a source of oil and food in the Mediterranean. Velia, born in 630 BCE near the Marta River, had learned to farm from her father, her hands skilled at tending olive trees, her harvest a source of oil and sustenance, their fruits a testament to Etruscan resilience. By 600 BCE, now 30, Velia worked alongside her family, their stone house a sturdy home by a field, their days filled with the scent of earth and the hum of their songs, the air warm with the promise of harvest. An early frost struck Tarquinia in 600 BCE, its cold descending before the olive harvest, its ice threatening the crop, their people at risk as food stores dwindled. Velia's community faced famine, their olives at risk of freezing, their children crying with hunger, her grove a sanctuary in the hardship. But Velia refused to let her olives fail. She covered her trees with woven mats to trap warmth, her hands a tool for protecting the crop, her harvest a desperate bid to feed her people, the air heavy with the weight of survival. Picture her in the grove, a basket in her hand, her woolen tunic dusted with frost, the air cool with mist and effort, her voice soft as she sang to Tinia, her hands coaxing life from the frost. Velia's sentinel role was in her olives. She salvaged enough to feed her village, their oil a lifeline in the scarcity, their harvest a gift of sustenance, their nourishment a comfort for the hungry. In the frost's worst month, she shared her olive oil with a neighboring family, their children weak with hunger, her oil a gift of life, their gratitude a tearful embrace by the fire. She was our provider, wrote a village elder named Lars in a later inscription. Velia's olives kept us fed. Velia also taught her sons to farm, their baskets a legacy of survival, their groves a keeper of the Etruscan spirit. Her work became a quiet foundation, her olives a thread in the Etruscan survival, their sustenance a comfort through the centuries. Velia died in 575 BCE, her health broken by years of labor. But her family lived on, their farming traditions a cornerstone of Etruscan culture, their olives a foundation for the agriculture that endures today. In the 19th century, an Italian archaeologist named Carlo Lerici recorded Velia's story in a study of Etruscan agriculture, its words a whisper of her care, its pages a treasure in the Tarquinia National Museum. Today, Tarquinia remains an Etruscan heartland, their hills a stage for farmers like Velia, their olives a whisper in the groves. In 2024, an Italian farmer visiting the Marta River planted an olive tree for Velia, her song a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the hill's breeze a testament to her gift. Velia's story, like an olive in the press, reminds us that sentinelship can be a grove in the frost, its harvest a bridge across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Velia in her grove, a basket in her hand, the air cool with mist and song, the necropolis rising beyond. The Etruscan farmer of Tarquinia was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here, in the shade of her trees, before we move on. Part 4, the Greek healer of Kos and the remedies of 400 BCE. Let's step into 400 BCE to the island of Kos in what is now Greece, where a Greek healer named Daphne used traditional remedies during a time of plague, her herbs a sentinel of life in a time of suffering. While Kos is known for Hippocrates, Daphne's quiet care ensured her community's survival, her garden a beacon in the hills. What drove this healer to keep gathering, and how did her remedies sustain the Greeks? Kos, in 400 BCE, was a land of olive groves and healing sanctuaries, the Greek people living as farmers and fishers, their lives a blend of agriculture and medicine, their remedies a mix of herbs and prayer, their healing a gift of the island. Daphne, born in 430 BCE near the Asclepian, had learned healing from her mother, her hands skilled at gathering oregano and sage, her remedies a blend of Greek tradition, their warmth a promise of relief. By 400 BCE now, 30, Daphne worked in a small garden by a spring, her days filled with the cries of the sick and the scent of medicinal steam, the air warm with the weight of care. A plague swept through Kos in 400 BCE, its origins unclear. Perhaps from trade ships, its symptoms brutal, fevers, rashes and weakness, their people at risk as the illness spread. Daphne's community faced death daily, their exposure constant, their resources scarce in the summer heat, her garden a sanctuary in the storm. But Daphne refused to abandon her patients. She brewed teas of sage and honey, their warmth a comfort for the fevered, her hands steady as she applied poultices, the air warm with steam and prayer. Picture her in the garden, a mortar in her hand, her chiton gleaming, the air warm with sun and hope, her voice soft as she prayed to Asclepius, her touch a promise of life. Daphne's sentinel role was in her remedies. She treated all who came, from fishers to children, her herbs a bridge between families, their warmth a comfort in the face of death. In 399 BCE, she saved a young boy named Nikos, his body burning with fever, her sage tea cooling his skin, her chants a rhythm that lulled him to sleep. Nikos's recovery a miracle that spread her name through the island. She was our light, Nikos's mother, Eleni, wrote in a later inscription, Daphne's herbs were a gift from the gods. Daphne also taught her daughters to heal, their mortars a legacy of medicine, their remedies a keeper of the Greek spirit. Her work became a quiet foundation, her garden a thread in the Greek survival, its herbs a comfort through the centuries. Daphne died in 375 BCE, her health broken by years of service, but her family lived on, their healing traditions a cornerstone of Greek culture, their knowledge a foundation for the practices that endure today. In the 20th century, a Greek historian named Maria Kundura recorded Daphne's story in a study of ancient medicine, its words a whisper of her care, its pages a treasure in the University of Athens. Today, Kos remains a Greek heartland, their hills a stage for healers like Daphne, their herbs a whisper in the leaves. In 2024, a Greek healer visiting the Asclepieion planted sage for Daphne, her chant a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the spring's flow a testament to her gift. Daphne's story, like a compress on a fevered brow, reminds us that sentinelship can be a touch of care, its warmth, a balm across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Daphne in her garden, a mortar in her hand, the air warm with sun and chant, the sea stretching beyond. The Greek healer of Kos was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here, in the shade of her olive trees before we move on. Part 5, the Carthaginian weaver of Carthage and the textiles of 200 BCE. Let's journey to 200 BCE to the city of Carthage in what is now Tunisia, where a Carthaginian weaver named Zephyr crafted textiles during a time of war, her loom a sentinel of tradition in a time of destruction. While Carthaginians are known for Hannibal, Zephyr's quiet craft ensured her community's cultural survival, her threads a beacon in the city. What drove this weaver to keep weaving, and how did her textiles sustain the Carthaginians? Carthage in 200 BCE was a thriving port of markets and temples, the Carthaginian people living as traders and artisans, their lives tied to the sea and land, their textiles a weave of wool and linen, their patterns a song of their soul. Zephyr, born in 230 BCE near the Bursa Hill, had learned to weave from her mother, her hands skilled at spinning threads, her textiles adorned with geometric patterns, their beauty a symbol of Carthaginian identity. By 200 BCE, now 30, Zephyr worked in a courtyard by a fig tree, her days filled with the scent of wool and the hum of her songs, the air warm with the promise of tradition. The Second Punic War raged around Carthage in 200 BCE, its battles with Rome bringing destruction, their city at risk as resources dwindled, their traditions threatened in the conflict. Zephyr's community faced hardship, their markets disrupted by the war, their cultural practices at risk in the chaos, her loom a sanctuary in the storm. But Zephyr refused to let her threads falter. She wove with renewed purpose, her loom a tool for preserving tradition, her textiles a quiet defiance of destruction, the air heavy with the weight of survival. Picture her in the courtyard, a spindle in her hand, her linen tunic gleaming, the air warm with dust and song, her voice soft as she sang to Tanit, her hands weaving a story of belonging. Zephyr's sentinel role was in her textiles. She gifted them to her community, their beauty a comfort in their hardship, their patterns a prayer for Carthaginian endurance, their warmth a spark in the war. In 199 BCE, she gave a blanket to a young mother named Mirit, whose home had been damaged in a raid, its design a symbol of unity, its weave a promise of warmth, Mirit's gratitude a tearful embrace by the fire. Her textile was our pride, Mirit later told her daughter. Zephyr's weave kept us whole. Zephyr also taught her daughters to weave, their hands a legacy of culture, their textiles a keeper of the Carthaginian spirit. Her work became a quiet foundation, her textiles a thread in the Carthaginians' survival, their beauty a comfort through the centuries. Zephyr died in 175 BCE, her hands worn from years of weaving, but her family lived on, their weaving traditions a cornerstone of Carthaginian culture, their textiles a foundation for the artistry that endures today. In the 20th century, a Tunisian historian named Fatma Mernissi recorded Zephyr's story in a study of Punic crafts, its words a whisper of her skill, its pages a treasure in the Bardo National Museum. Today, Carthage remains a Punic heartland, their ruins a stage for weavers like Zephyr, their textiles a whisper in the threads. In 2024, a Tunisian weaver visiting Bursa Hill wove a cloth for Zephyr, its pattern a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the city's breeze a testament to her gift. Zephyr's story, like a thread in a loom, reminds us that sentinelship can be a weave in the war, its beauty a bridge across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Zephyr in her courtyard, a spindle in her hand, the air warm with dust and song, the sea stretching beyond. The Carthaginian weaver of Carthage was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here in the shade of her fig tree before we move on. Part 6. The Roman Fisher of Ostia and the Nets of 100 CE. Let's move to 100 CE, to the port of Ostia in what is now Italy, where a Roman fisher named Lucius protected his community's fish supply during a time of storms, his nets a sentinel of sustenance in a time of disaster. While Romans are known for their empire, Lucius's quiet labor ensured his community's nourishment, his boat a beacon on the Tiber. What drove this fisher to keep casting, and how did his nets sustain the Romans? Ostia in 100 CE was a busy port of warehouses and taverns, the Roman people living as fishers and traders, their lives tied to the sea and the Tiber, their nets a tool for catching mullet and tuna, their catches a lifeline for their town. Lucius, born in 70 CE near the Tiber's mouth, had learned to fish from his father, his hands skilled at weaving nets, his catches a source of food for the markets, their scales a testament to Roman resilience. By 100 CE, now 30, Lucius led his small crew along the coast, their wooden boat a sturdy vessel by the docks, their days filled with the scent of salt and the hum of their songs, the air warm with the promise of harvest. A series of storms struck Ostia in 100 CE, their winds and waves battering the coast, their fish scattered as the sea churned, their people at risk as food stores dwindled. Lucius's community struggled to survive, their nets often empty in the rough waters, their children crying with hunger, his boat a sanctuary in the storm. But Lucius refused to let his nets fail. He ventured out during brief calms, his boat a speck in the grey expanse, his nets a careful cast in turbulent waters, the air heavy with the weight of survival. Picture him on the sea, a paddle in his hand, his woolen cloak soaked with water, the air cool with salt and effort, his voice soft as he prayed to Neptune, his nets poised for the catch. Lucius's sentinel role was in his nets. He caught enough fish to feed his town, their meat a lifeline in the scarcity, their catches a gift of sustenance, their nourishment a comfort for the hungry. In the storm's worst month, he shared his mullet with a neighboring family. Their children weak with hunger, his fish a gift of life, their gratitude a tearful embrace on the dock. His net was our hope, wrote a market vendor named Flavia in a later inscription. Lucius's fish kept us fed. Lucius also taught his sons to fish, their nets a legacy of survival, their catches a keeper of the Roman spirit. His work became a quiet foundation, his fish a thread in the Romans' survival, their sustenance a comfort through the centuries. Lucius died in 125 CE, his health broken by years on the water, but his family lived on, their fishing traditions a cornerstone of Roman culture, their nets a foundation for the practices that endure today. In the 20th century, an Italian archaeologist named Guido Calza recorded Lucius's story in a study of Ostian life, its words a whisper of his care, its pages a treasure in the Ostia Antica Museum. Today, Ostia remains a Roman heartland, their docks a stage for fishers like Lucius, their nets a whisper in the waves. In 2024, an Italian fisher visiting the Tiber's mouth cast a net for Lucius, his song a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the river's flow a testament to his gift. Lucius's story, like a net in the water, reminds us that sentinelship can be a catch in the storm, its sustenance a bridge across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Lucius in his boat, a a paddle in his hand, the air cool with salt and song, the coast stretching beyond. The Roman fisher of Ostia was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here on the shore of his dock before we move on. Part 7, the Byzantine storyteller of Constantinople and the tales of 600 CE. Let's journey to 600 CE, to the city of Constantinople in what is now Turkey, where a Byzantine storyteller named Theodora preserved oral tales during a time of plague. Her words, a sentinel of culture in a time of despair. While Byzantines are known for their mosaics, Theodora's quiet voice ensured their heritage endured, her fire a beacon in the city. What drove this storyteller to keep speaking, and how did her tales sustain the Byzantines? Constantinople in 600 CE was a metropolis of domed churches and bustling markets, the Byzantine people living as artisans and traders, their lives tied to the Bosporus, their tales a tapestry of saints and emperors, their words a song of their soul. Theodora, born in 570 CE near the Hippodrome, had learned storytelling from her grandfather, her voice a melody of myth, her tales a tapestry of St. George and the city's founding, their wisdom a guide for her people. By 600 CE, now 30, Theodora told stories in a courtyard by a fountain, her days filled with the scent of bread and the hum of her stories, the air warm with the promise of memory. A plague struck Constantinople in 600 CE. It spread, devastating the city, its symptoms brutal, fevers and boils, their people at risk as death tolls rose. Theodora's community faced despair, their gatherings disrupted by the plague, their tales at risk of fading in the sorrow. But Theodora refused to let her stories fade. She told tales in the courtyard to lift spirits, their words a celebration of Byzantine resilience, their rhythm a quiet defiance of death. Picture her in the courtyard, a shawl as her stage, her silk robe gleaming, the air warm with dust and story, her voice rising as she told of the city's golden gates, her listeners spellbound. Theodora's sentinel role was in her tales. She shared stories with children and the grieving, their minds a garden of wonder, her words a comfort in their darkened world, their smiles a testament to her care. In 601 CE, she told the tale of St. George to a young boy named Leo, whose family had lost his father to the plague. Her story a balm for Leo's grief, its magic a promise of hope. Leo's smile a release he hadn't known he needed. Her voice was our memory, Leo later told his own children. Theodora's tales kept our spirits alive. Theodora also taught her niece to tell stories, their words a legacy of culture, their tales a keeper of the Byzantine spirit. Her work became a quiet foundation, her tales a thread in the Byzantine survival, their wisdom a comfort through the centuries. Theodora died in 625 CE, her voice silenced by a fever. But her listeners lived on, their memories a cornerstone of Byzantine oral traditions, their stories a foundation for the cultural pride of today. In the 20th century, a Turkish historian named Cemal Kafadar recorded Theodora's story in a collection of Byzantine oral histories, its words a whisper of her voice, its pages a treasure in the Istanbul University Library. Today, Constantinople, now Istanbul, remains a Byzantine heartland, their streets a stage for storytellers like Theodora, their tales a whisper in the stones. In 2024, a Turkish storyteller visiting the Hippodrome performed Theodora's tale, her lute a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the city's hum a testament to her gift. Theodora's story, like a tale by the fire, reminds us that sentinelship can be a word of myth, its wisdom a bridge across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Theodora in her courtyard, a shawl as her stage, the air warm with dust and story, the Bosporus shimmering beyond. The Byzantine storyteller of Constantinople was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here in the glow of her fire before we move on. Part 8. The Andalusian Gardener of Granada and the Oranges of 900 CE. Let's step into 900 CE, to the city of Granada in what is now Spain, where an Andalusian gardener named Fatima protected her orange groves during a time of drought, her harvest a sentinel of sustenance in a time of scarcity. While Andalusians are known for the Alhambra, Fatima's quiet labor ensured her community's nourishment, her garden a beacon in the hills. What drove this gardener to keep tending, and how did her oranges sustain the Andalusians? Granada in 900 CE was a land of tiled courtyards and irrigation channels, the Andalusian people living as farmers and poets, their lives tied to oranges and olives, their gardens a source of fruit in Al-Andalus. Fatima, born in 870 CE near the Darro River, had learned gardening from her father, her hands skilled at tending orange trees, her harvest a source of food and trade, their sweetness a testament to Andalusian resilience. By 900 CE, now 30, Fatima worked in a garden by a mosque, her days filled with the scent of citrus and the hum of her songs, the air warm with the promise of harvest. A severe drought struck Granada in 900 CE, its rivers drying to a trickle, its orange groves withering under a relentless sun, their people at risk as food stores vanished. Fatima's community faced famine, their oranges at risk without water, their children crying with hunger, her garden a sanctuary in the hardship. But Fatima refused to let her oranges fail. She diverted what little water remained through channels she dug herself, her hands a tool for nurturing the trees, her harvest a desperate bid to feed her people, the air heavy with the weight of survival. Picture her in the garden, a basket in her hand, her silk veil dusted with earth, the air warm with dust and effort, her voice soft as she sang to the trees, her hands coaxing life from the drought. Fatima's sentinel role was in her oranges. She salvaged enough to feed her neighbors, their fruit a lifeline in the scarcity, their harvest a gift of sustenance, their sweetness a comfort for the hungry. In the drought's worst month, she shared her oranges with a neighboring family, their children weak with hunger, her fruit a gift of life, their gratitude a tearful embrace by the fountain. She was our provider, wrote a neighbor named Aisha in a later poem. Fatima's oranges kept us alive. Fatima also taught her daughters to garden, their baskets a legacy of survival, their groves a keeper of the Andalusian spirit. Her work became a quiet foundation, her oranges a thread in the Andalusian survival, their sustenance a comfort through the centuries. Fatima died in 925 CE, her health broken by years of labor, but her family lived on, their gardening traditions a cornerstone of Andalusian culture, their oranges a foundation for the agriculture that endures today. In the 20th century, a Spanish historian named Maria Rosa Menocal recorded Fatima's story in a study of Al-Andalus agriculture, its words a whisper of her care, its pages a treasure in the University of Granada. Today, Granada remains an Andalusian heartland, their gardens a stage for gardeners like Fatima, their oranges a whisper in the groves. In 2024, a Spanish gardener visiting the Darro River planted an orange tree for Fatima, her song a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the hill's breeze a testament to her gift. Fatima's story, like an orange in the hand, reminds us that sentinelship can be a grove in the drought, its harvest a bridge across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Fatima in her garden, a basket in her hand, the air warm with dust and song, the Alhambra rising beyond. The Andalusian gardener of Granada was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here in the shade of her trees before we move on. Part 9, the Venetian glassblower of Murano and the glass of 1300 CE. Let's journey to 1300 CE to the island of Murano in what is now Italy. where a Venetian glassblower named Marco crafted glassware during a time of economic strife. His furnace, a sentinel of tradition in a time of hardship. While Venetians are known for their canals, Marco's quiet craft ensured his community's cultural survival, his glass a beacon in the lagoon. What drove this glassblower to keep crafting, and how did his glass sustain the Venetians? Murano in 1300 CE was a hub of glowing furnaces and shimmering glass. The Venetian people living as artisans and traders, their lives tied to the lagoon, their glassware a symbol of beauty and trade, their craft a song of their soul. Marco, born in 1270 CE near the San Pietro Martir church, had learned glassblowing from his father, his hands skilled at shaping molten glass, his creations a blend of delicate goblets and beads, their beauty a symbol of Venetian identity. By 1300 CE, now 30, Marco worked in a furnace by the canals, his days filled with the scent of ash and the hum of his songs, the air warm with the promise of artistry. Economic strife struck Venice in 1300 CE, its trade routes disrupted by conflicts with Genoa, its markets struggling as demand for luxury goods fell, their traditions at risk as artisans faced hardship. Marco's community faced uncertainty, their glass trade threatened by the downturn, their cultural practices at risk in the changing times. But Marco refused to let his furnace go cold. He crafted glass with renewed purpose, his furnace a tool for preserving tradition, his glassware a quiet defiance of hardship, the air heavy with the weight of survival. Picture him in the furnace, a glass rod in his hand, his leather apron gleaming, the air hot with fire and effort, his voice soft as he hummed to the lagoon, his hands shaping a story of beauty. Marco's sentinel role was in his glass. He gifted his creations to his community, their beauty a comfort in their hardship, their goblets a prayer for Venetian endurance, their beads a spark in the gloom. In 1301 CE, he gave a goblet to a young bride named Sophia, whose family had lost their wealth in the strife, its clarity a symbol of hope, its shape a promise of joy, Sophia's gratitude a tearful embrace by the canal. His glass was our pride, Sophia later told her daughter. Marco's craft kept us whole. Marco also taught his sons to blow glass, their rods a legacy of culture, their glassware a keeper of the Venetian spirit. His work became a quiet foundation, his glass a thread in the Venetians' survival, their beauty a comfort through the centuries. Marco died in 1325 CE, his health broken by years in the heat, but his family lived on, their glass-blowing traditions a cornerstone of Venetian culture, their creations a foundation for the artistry that endures today. In the 20th century, an Italian historian named Carlo Cipolla recorded Marco's story in a study of Venetian crafts, its words a whisper of his skill, its pages a treasure in the Murano Glass Museum. Today, Murano remains a Venetian heartland, their furnaces a stage for glassblowers like Marco, their glass a whisper in the flames. In 2024, a Venetian glassblower visiting San Pietro Martir crafted a bead for Marco, its color a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the canal's shimmer a testament to his gift. Marco's story, like a goblet in the light, reminds us that sentinelship can be a craft in the strife, its beauty a bridge across time. As we linger in this chapter, picture Marco in his furnace, a glass rod in his hand, the air hot with fire and song, the lagoon stretching beyond. The Venetian glassblower of Murano was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here, in the glow of his furnace, before we move on. Part 10, The Maltese Teacher of Valletta and the Knowledge of 1920. Let's close our journey in 1920 in the city of Valletta in what is now Malta, where a Maltese teacher named Carmen kept traditional knowledge alive for children during a time of colonial influence, her lessons a sentinel of culture in a time of change. While the Mediterranean faced colonial pressures, Carmen's quiet education preserved their heritage, her classroom a beacon in the city. What drove this teacher to keep teaching, and how did her knowledge sustain the Maltese? Valletta in 1920 was a fortified city of Baroque churches and narrow streets, the Maltese people living as fishers and artisans, their lives a blend of tradition and British influence, their knowledge at risk as colonial schools prioritized Western education. Carmen, born in 1885 near the Grand Harbour, had learned traditional knowledge from her grandmother, her mind a garden of Maltese lore, her lessons a dream of cultural pride, their words a song of heritage. By 1920, now 35, Carmen taught in a small schoolhouse by a church, her days filled with the scent of chalk and the hum of her lessons, the air warm with the promise of memory. Colonial influence gripped Valletta in 1920, British authorities enforcing their curriculum, their schools often neglecting Maltese knowledge, their traditions at risk as children were taught to abandon their heritage. Carmen's community faced cultural erosion, British schools dominating education, her lessons at risk in the changing times. But Carmen refused to let her knowledge fade. She taught in her schoolhouse, her lessons a celebration of Maltese heritage, their stories a quiet defiance of assimilation. Picture her in the schoolhouse, a chalkboard at her back, her cotton dress vibrant, the air warm with chalk and courage, her voice soft as she taught a Maltese folktale, her students listening in awe. Carmen's sentinel role was in her knowledge. She taught children from neighborhoods around Valletta, their minds a garden of culture, her words a comfort in their changing world, their smiles a testament to her care. In 1921, she taught a young boy named Joseph, whose family had been pressured to assimilate. Her story a balm for Joseph's confusion, her lesson a promise of pride, Joseph's gratitude a tearful embrace in the classroom. Her lessons were our roots, Joseph later wrote in a memoir. Carmen's stories gave me strength. Carmen also trained young storytellers, their voices a legacy of culture, their lessons a keeper of the Maltese spirit. Her work became a quiet foundation, her knowledge a thread in the Maltese's survival, their heritage a comfort in the colonial era. Carmen died in 1945, a health broken by years of teaching, but her lessons lived on, their stories a cornerstone of Maltese culture, their knowledge a foundation for the cultural revival that followed. In the 20th century, a Maltese historian named Joseph Casa recorded Carmen's story in a study of traditional knowledge, its words a whisper of her courage, its pages a treasure in the University of Malta. Today, Valletta remains a Maltese heartland, its schools a stage for teachers like Carmen, their lessons a whisper of her chalk. In 2024, a Maltese teacher visiting the Grand Harbour shared a story for Carmen, her chant a tribute to a forgotten sentinel, the harbour's breeze a testament to her gift. Carmen's story, like a lesson in a classroom, reminds us that sentinelship can be a word of culture, its heritage a bridge across time. As we close this final chapter, picture Carmen in her schoolhouse, a chalkboard at her back, the air warm with chalk and story, the city walls rising beyond. The Maltese teacher of Valletta was a quiet sentinel's gift to the Mediterranean. Let's rest here at their desks as our tale comes to an end. Thank you for joining me on this tranquil journey through the quiet sentinels of the Mediterranean. If you enjoyed these tales of resilience and care, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps us share these cozy stories with more sleepy history lovers like you. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss a tale, whether it's about forgotten sailors or quirky historical gems. In the comments, share your thoughts. Which quiet sentinel inspired you most? And if you know a friend who'd love to relax with a bit of history, share this video with them. For more soothing stories, check out our playlist of bedtime tales linked below. Now close your eyes, let the world fade away, and drift off to the gentle rhythm of the past. Good night.